tiefling and Etruscan, addicts of drugs not yet synthesized, black marketeers of World War III, excisers of telepathic sensitivity, osteopaths of spirit, investigators of infractions denounced by bland paranoid chess players, servers of fragmentary warrants taken down with schizophrenic shorthand, charging unspeakable mutilations of the spirit, officials of unconstituted police states, senators.
All right, yeah,
What
let's
number are
do
we
this.
I don't know.
6, 7.
What?
I'm trying to say what episode is this. You were on number.
We do this all the time. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Every time we load in, I'm like,
I don't have fucking.
8.
I don't know. Let me search.
James was on number 2 or 3. No, Joe was 2.
we
he
were on
was
3. I was on
You were
3
on
with
3.
you. So
We did
This is 7.
7.
No, it's not.
Mike, I just want to
It's
just make
4.
sure
You were the
we're
last
covering
one. That's not
the
right.
the basics of Q and a few solid proofs that
We're gonna
prove-
do Q for dummies.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's what I just want to make sure.
We're gonna
That's
do
what
Q. We're gonna do Q for dummies, and I might come at you a little bit.
Please do. Let's fucking do it, man.
No, I want
Let's
to,
fucking-
and I love you, so it doesn't
let's do
matter. It doesn't
let's
matter.
do it.
You know what I'm saying?
No, let's have some fun. We'll do it. Let's go.
All right, so here we are, the Free Thinker Society with Mike Romanelli. This is either I didn't put a number on the swap cast with Sam, so this is number 4. Yes, this is number 4 because we
Really?
didn't post the other one.
Okay. We're at number 4. All right, we'll call it number 5, but it doesn't matter. This is the Free Thinker Society with Mike Romanelli. I am here with my buddy. Well, first of all, we got Clint Esposito on the 1s and 2s. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy who was just jumping firewalls in
Maniac.
one of the only free states in the country.
Ohio. This is the most pumped I've ever been on Ohio.
Yeah, he's just crushing.
Yeah, I've been to Ohio for wrestling, and that place sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now it's like the hottest. It's the hot spot. It's like back in like the 90s when you could smoke weed and like, do a little bit of recreational drugs in California. That's like Ohio right now. You don't have to wear a mask, and you can.
I don't know if I'm gonna go check it out. Well, yeah, nowadays, yeah, it's probably a free state.
Yeah, nowadays you could.
With all this totalitarianism.
Yeah, Ohio's the spot to be. But anyway, we got my boy James Currey back on the podcast.
What's up?
Yeah, here we go. From We the People Radio, blowing the fuck up, James. You're blowing the fuck up. I mean,
I'm having some fun. I'm working really hard. I'll tell you that. I'm honestly shocked by all the support that I'm getting, and I got to thank you guys and everybody that's giving me shout outs. Because I really can't believe we're where we're at this point in such a short period of time, and we're really kind of playing catch up because we didn't expect it. We're just going with the flow and having some fun, and telling our story.
he's being humble, but this guy works hard. This guy works hard. When a story breaks, when Ghislaine or Ghislaine Maxwell, when she
However you want to say it.
when she goes to jail, or when a precinct is burnt down, this dude is just he is just on it. He doesn't go to sleep.
What's the likelihood? Haven't you been making some predictions as well?
That was.
I've been making a few guesses.
How long do we think what's her name's gonna make it in jail? Like, does she make it to trial?
I think she makes it.
Really?
I really do.
And sings like a canary.
I really do. They're rushing this through. Like, she's going to court already, dude.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
They're
When
not.
is the date?
Yeah, she was in court as soon as she was arrested. She was in court and arraigned, and then she's going, I believe, this Friday for her first hearing. Like, they're rushing this through. They're not waiting. Like, this is what I think about the whole situation. I really think they had her in custody, and she was she was in fucking New Hampshire, dude. Like, it's not like she was in the mountains in the middle of West Virginia, like hiding in the Appalachians. She was just hanging out in New Hampshire and just chilling. You don't think
at
our
a Chick-fil-A on
know
a
where she
Monday
was?
morning after they close on a Sunday? Like, she's just.
Yeah, you don't think the intelligence, like, they didn't know where she was? Like, you think she was just hanging out and she was just hiding and no one knew where she... Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, James,
like,
up until last week in New Jersey, if I had an ounce on me, someone would get arrested. Now it's a slap on the wrist. You know that?
yeah, I heard you get $25 fine for up to a
It's like
pound.
a parking ticket.
I got arrested for a quarter pound, a QP.
This kid's got to live in Las Vegas and fucking... Yeah, because he got caught. Whatever. It's ridiculous, but it's great. It's also great, right? It's also amazing. But
It is what it is. I made my decisions, and I gotta live in the bed that I made, and I make good of it. I'm having some fun. I'm living life, as you can see. I'm out in sunny
I
Las
would
Vegas.
say you made the correct decision either way. Like, let's be serious.
Yeah, Jersey
It's
sucks.
not
Dude.
like
Jersey.
you're in fucking Detroit.
Nah.
He's
Jersey
in a,
sucks.
yeah,
I'm
he's
so
in a
glad I'm
grow
out of that
house in
hell. I miss you.
Detroit.
I miss you guys.
So we are going to get clarified on Q, right?
So today, James. So I know this is the Free Thinker Society. A lot of people maybe have been free thinking for a while, but maybe they haven't, and maybe they're new to this. And I want to talk to you about Q. I know it's
Sure.
It's either the hero for some, and it's a dirty word for others. But you know what? I've been schooled on Q for a while, and I'll be honest. I'll be straight up. I'm always honest with my listeners. When Q first broke, I was really into it. It's been like waves for me. I was really into it. I kind of stopped a couple years ago, and then I kind of got back into it. And like right now, honestly, like I'm almost not even into anything because the world is so fucking crazy. Like one day they tell you got to wear like with the mask shit and the opening and the closing. Like I'm not even looking.
I don't know how you guys do it every day at the restaurant.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at like conspiracy shit anymore. It's like the whole world is like some fucking weird upside down conspiracy. But Q is all I know is like there's people that are not truth seekers or there's not free thinkers that are talking to me about Q, and I know like you've done your work on Q, and there's been a couple times off record James and I have had some disagreements on Q.
For sure.
And you know what? I want to do like a Q for dummies. Like I want to be able to tell somebody that is not even into any of this shit, but ask what is Q. Like that's what I want this episode to be about. I just want because I know you're the guy. Like yeah,
for sure.
Like I said, one of my researchers is this dude. When I need questions,
well, I'm a dummy, so
yeah. So
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, and Clint didn't know much about Q. So like, let's start. Like,
no, I'm like, okay. So basically, I'm like, what the fuck is it? Is it like anonymous? Is it a different?
No, it's different. So
Okay.
Q is, it started on October 28th, 2017 was Q's first post. And it was all about Hillary Clinton getting arrested and things
on
like
what
this.
platform?
It was on 4chan originally, and then it moved over to 8chan, and it's still on 8chan, which is now 8kun. But I'll tell you right now, it's super complicated to navigate through those forum boards. Like unless you're, you know how to use technology and websites like that, you got to navigate through these things, and it's very confusing. So I always recommend people going to qmap.pub. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best place to look at all of Q's posts. So you can see every single one that Q has made, and it's a great resource because you can see all of the players that are involved, all the resignations that have happened since President Trump has taken office. There's been like 13,000 resignations since President Trump has taken office.
Much?
And yeah,
13,
about
000.
Around 13. Huh? Around 13,000, yeah, give or take.
All right, so Q post one.
What?
What was Q post one? Like what happened? Like what sparked
So Q post one pretty much was saying how Hillary Clinton was going to get arrested, and she was involved in all this nefarious stuff, and it was really a bait and switch, because it allowed when he made that post, it was the same time as the Saudi purge when we went in there and removed all those Saudi princes. And it was the same time, right, and their response was the Las Vegas shooting. That was their response. They knew that was coming, so they did
really
the Las Vegas
on date.
Huh?
On date, is that really the same time?
Yeah, October 1st was the Vegas shooting of 2017. Yeah. So he was President Trump. Rumor has it is President Trump because they own the penthouses up in Mandalay Bay.
Yeah, the Saudis, princes. Absolutely, yep.
And the rumor has is that President Trump was meeting him there, and there was an assassination attempt on President Trump, and they were trying to remove him because they knew that they were either going to take the Clintons down or take the Saudi princes, and I think they were having that meeting to set that up, and they did the Saudi purge and removed all the princes, and that was the same weekend as Q's first posting. It was that same time. It was like late October, early November.
Can you look up one? Like I thought the
the search computer.
Oh really?
So yeah,
I thought the from the research I got was that what people were thinking was that it was an arms deal gone bad
at Mandalay Bay.
Yes.
Well, they're like I said, this is the rumors that are going around. It could have there's that rumor as well that it was an arms deal, but it really kind of makes sense based off the information that we know about Q and things like that, that they would try to be stopping the plans from being set in motion, because everybody that like anons like myself follow Q, and millions and millions and millions of other people follow Q. And it's not just us. The deep state, the enemies are watching it as well. They're watching the boards. So I recommend.
When was the first Q post?
October 28th, 2017. And it happens to be the same exact day. Excuse me.
It was October 1st, it says right here.
Yeah, no, the shooting. I just said that. The Vegas shooting was October 1st.
Okay.
And that was his meeting with the prince to set up the purge. The rumor is that Air Force One was at McCarran, and there's pictures of Air Force One taking off from McCarran around that time. So rumor has it that he was there, and they were setting this up to get the plans in motion. But Q's first post was October 28th, 2017, and it was the same day John Durham was appointed by Jeff Sessions as the Inspector General to investigate the Hillary Clinton laptop and the Hillary Clinton emails, the Wiener laptop, Benghazi, and things like that. Then John Huber got appointed, so on and so forth. But John Durham was literally appointed the same exact day that Q started posting.
Really?
And literally the same day. And the funny thing is,
we don't got to check this out. It's the same day when he got appointed as the first Q.
John Durham got appointed on October 28th, 2017 to investigate the Hillary Clinton investigation. The Hillary Clinton emails and the DNC server and all of that on the same day as Q. Q starting posting. And one of Q's first posts was that famous picture of George Washington going across the Delaware with his soldiers, going ready in a battle, that famous picture. The boats he was riding, do you know what those boats are called?
What are they called?
Durham boats. Those little square boats. Like, literally look it up. You could Google Durham boats. They're little square boats. That was the boats that George Washington was riding, and that was on one of Q's first posts, which is
I know
really
the
wild.
picture. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I saw it because I was big on Q in the beginning, so I know exactly what picture you're talking about. Okay, and that's called the Durham boat.
Yeah,
listen,
George
there's
Washington
a
was
lot of weird names and things that will go through this Q thing.
So me personally, when I'm trying to introduce somebody to Q, I use videos a lot. There's a lot of good people that do a lot of good work, like Storm is Upon Us, Joe M. His video, Calm Before the Storm, is a great intro video to Q, and it'll really help you explain what's really going on. But for dummies, if I had to put it in my own words, it is a military intelligence operation. And that's been in the works for a very long time, because this plan has been so exact and to a T, and I'll get into that in a little bit, that there's no way that they just made this up over a short period of time. Like, it's too exact.
Could Q be involved in the dirty M word that they don't?
MOSS with Israel?
No, in the United States.
He doesn't know that much.
I don't know that much.
He can't probably say the N word.
No, militias, like around the United States, because I had a little bit of interaction with some people, and it seemed like they knew similar type of, like, there was some kind of connection through everybody that, you know what I mean? They were getting some kind of intel.
So anybody can go and look at the Q boards. And what I love about Q is that it promotes free thinking. Like, Q never tells us when things are going to happen, how things are going to happen. He always gives us bits and pieces. It's a team of people. And as of right now, we know for a fact two people that are involved, one being Dan Scavino and the other being General Flynn. And those are two really big proofs that happened pretty recently that are almost making QAnon undeniably real. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Otherwise, General Flynn's compromised as well, and he's a 3-star general and just prevented himself from being blackmailed. We know that's 100% fact.
All right, we're jumping a little bit, but so you're talking about Flynn and Scavino. So
I'll get into that.
Why is all over the internet they say Q is a LARP, Q is fake? They could find guys in their mother's basements
because there's been, like I said, way too many exacts, and there's things that have happened throughout the QAnon movement that have been so on time and exact that there's no way you could be that exact without inside information, without a plan. And a few of those things. So when I first started following Q, it was early 2018. It was when President Trump blew up that airbase in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was really starting to get fed up with President Trump. To be honest, I was like, "Yo, this guy's another one. He's going to set in, feed into the military-industrial complex."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was really like.
So tell us about this. Tell us about this. Go ahead.
So I was really like getting frustrated because I really liked President Trump because of what he campaigned on, draining the swamp. The famous clip of him talking to Hillary Clinton at the debate, saying, "Oh, you'd be in jail if I was in charge." And we're in 2018 at this point, so there's been no arrests, nothing has happened, and I'm sitting here just like, what the hell is going on? And I had a buddy come and introduce it to me, and back then there was QAnon.pub, the Chan boards, and there was on Reddit the Great Awakening thread.
Mm-hmm.
And it allowed me to really absorb some information and start doing a lot of digging because there was no QMap.pub back then. And that's why I always recommend people going there, because you can see all the players, all the resignations, all the notable deaths, suicides, things like that are involved, plus all of the Q posts. But back then that didn't exist. So I had these threads and I used these YouTube channels to start learning how QAnon works, because like you, I question everything.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to find out more. But I loved the fact that it seemed like there was a plan in action. And when I really kind of saw that there was something connected to the president with this QAnon thing, was his Easter address. So when Q posts on the boards, there's a section where anonymous people can post as well, and they can ask questions, and Q will sometimes answer questions that Anons ask.
Okay.
So someone put in the questions, "Hey Q, can you have President Trump put tip-top shape in his State of the Union address?" And someone commented right below. He said, "Yeah, put tippy-top shape." Yep. And this was the night before Easter and very close to the State of the Union address. So that's written in advance, the State of the Union address. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't just throw that in the State of the Union address. So in his Easter address, in the Rose Garden, standing in front of a white rabbit with big white glasses on, looking straight at Alice in Wonderland, he literally goes, I just want to thank the White House staff and Melania for making this the White House. They always keep the White House in tip-top shape. Some would even say it's tippy-top shape. And right then and there, I knew something was off, because I've never heard anybody say tippy-top shape ever.
Obama
never in my life have I ever heard anybody say that. And he said it the day after someone put it on the boards. So right then and there, I said, okay, there's something to look into here, and I got to start digging further. So I started digging even further, and shortly after that, on June 25th, Q posted, "No name returns to the headlines." Okay, and his first no name, for those who don't know, is John McCain. John McCain is a known traitor. From his Vietnam days when he was a POW to working without pictures of him out with al-Baghdadi and ISIS and things like that. He's 100% a traitor to our nation. You could see it with his wrinkled flag that he got when he was laid to rest. They gave him a wrinkled flag, which is something that they don't do unless you're a traitor. You can look at the pictures. It's not pressed. Like, when someone in military, they lay the flag over them. They put a pressed flag over them. Unless you're a traitor, you get a wrinkled flag. You're getting dishonored. So he got a wrinkled flag, but he said no name returns to the headlines on June 25th. And he made that post at 4:28 in the afternoon on Eastern time. Okay? So a couple days went by. There was no headlines of John McCain, because at this time, like, if you remember, right before his death, he was MIA. Like, he was missing. Like, you haven't heard from him for like 6 months. And a month to the day, August 25th, 2018, the New York Times posts an article, says John McCain announced dead at 4:28 in the afternoon. Whoa. Now, that right there, I have chills right now. That right there was like a light bulb in my head. I said, there's no way you can be that exact and that on point without prior information, which leads me to believe that he was executed and he went through his military tribunal and that already happened. and which leads me to believe even more that we're watching a movie. And then there's a bunch of other little proofs that we can get into, like
now there's pictures of McCain like with
al-Baghdadi.
yeah, with
there's-
ISIS fighters. Like
there's
they're straight
pictures.
up like non-photoshopped. Like, listen, I go back, guys. Whoever's listening to this, like, I go back and forth with Q. But there's certain things that's like there's pictures of McCain with ISIS fighters, right? Like,
With al-Baghdadi, the guy President
straight
Trump
up
flew in,
terrorist.
like President Trump did the press conference. He died like a dog. Like, he literally died like a dog. He's screaming and yelling, and it took President Trump, his administration, to go in there and do it. And you see all of these human trafficking arrests. You see all these big names like Nexium and Keith Raniere and the Brothlin family going down, Harvey Weinstein going down, John of God going down. All these big people that are tied, Epstein, Maxwell, that are tied to pedophilia, didn't go down until after President Trump took office.
Yeah,
So
I mean, the Meghan McCain fucking Tim Dillon video did not come out until Trump was around. Do you guys see that?
no, it didn't. So it's those those exact things. Like another one, which really, it's a more recent one, and I talk about it all the time because this year, 2020, has been wild. Okay, it's been an unbelievable year, but it really, literally started off with a bang. Okay, because January 3rd of 2020, you guys remember what happened on January 3rd, 2020 this year?
Kobe Bryant died?
No.
Oh.
We blew up Soleimani.
Okay.
We blew up Soleimani on January 3rd, 2020. Okay, so if you were to write January 3rd, like on an essay, you would write down 1/3/20, right? Like as the date to date your essay.
Yeah.
So if you go to Q post 1/3/20, it's literally an entire post about how POTUS took control of Iran that day. Literally talking about how the president is now in control of Iran.
James, perfect.
And
Hold
calling
up,
the shots.
Hold up. Say you go to post 1/3/20.
Yes, go to post
Okay,
1/3.
hold
Q
up,
post
hold up.
1/3/20.
And now you're not talking about the date. You're talking that this is exactly what I have in my notes.
It was posted in May of 2018. It was posted.
Okay, so here we go.
It was Q post 1/3/20.
Exactly. So we're now it's like where we're talking about almost like seeing into the future, figuring things out.
Yes.
Maybe Project
It's
Looking
too-
Glass. Maybe
It's too exact.
Okay.
It's too
so,
exact.
All right, here we go. We gotta. Like we said, this is for dummies. We're way ahead.
I'm just trying to give people so they can go into it with an open mind, saying like, oh wow, like these kind of things are so exact. Maybe I should look into
All right.
this.
So the number you just said
Yes.
was just the number of posts. Like this is episode 5.
Yeah. So yep. It was post 1,320.
Okay.
So
and if you do the number on the date, it's the same date as when this dude died.
1/3/20 is the same day that we blew up Soleimani, January 3rd, 2020.
But
That's
that number of
1/3/20.
posts was years before.
May 2018. It was posted, I believe.
So is that called the trip code? I don't understand the trip code thing.
So the trip code is just on the Chan boards, so you can identify that it's the same person posting. You can remain anonymous. Everybody gets their own trip code, and you can remain anonymous, but like every time you post on the boards, you're going to have the same numbers and letter sequence next to you.
So you're James 001. Every time you post, you're 001.
Yeah, it's like much longer than that.
But I'm saying
that's absolutely. Yeah. And every time I post, and the misspellings in a lot of Trump's tweets.
Yeah, the coffee and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they connect to those trip codes a lot because because we're not the only ones watching the boards, has to change his trip code. So he'll say a trip code change, and then all of a sudden, to confirm it, the president will have a missing letter or number, and it'd be the same letter or number in the trip code that Q has. It's literally unbelievable.
This is where I am not smart enough for this. So let's go back. Let's go slow. So if he writes coffee with coffee.
Well, kafefi, that has a whole different meaning.
So let's forget that one.
But it's just like, for example, he misspells words all the time.
I know.
The media is on him like white on rice. They're on him like white on rice.
But in fact, they would be promoting the new code or whatever unknowingly.
Yeah, and it would literally just be the missing letter that's in the trip code that now confirms that that's Q's new trip code. So it was
Really?
direct correlation. Yeah, absolutely. And it happens all the time. And this is something that's very important. They're called deltas. So a lot of the times, Q will make a post and on the Q boards, and literally within 30 seconds to a minute tops, President Trump will make a tweet, and in the tweet and the Q post will either be a phrase or a word or a missing letter in the Q post that matches up within a minute of each other. They're posting. And most recently, this is how we know Dan Scavino's on the team. They had a 3-second delta where Q posted, 3 seconds later, President Trump posted, and Anon said, "Wow, way to go, guys, 3-second delta." And Q's answer said, "Blame Dan," meaning Dan Scavino. Because for those who don't know, Dan Scavino he's President Trump's personal White House secretary and the social media manager for the White House. So he has to be very articulate and very good with typing things and things like that. But those little timestamps are unbelievable.
So he's not Dan Scavino's not the hot chick that just fucking flames everyone.
Nah.
Who's that chick?
Danielle Scavino.
He's not touching. He's not
who's that
showing
chick?
no skin.
Who's the chick that just fucking kills
The
everyone?
Kayla
new
McInerney.
press
Kayla
secretary?
McInerney. Oh, I love her, dude.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
Yeah, she just. All right, so how about this? Because you're convincing me too much, and this is not where we're trying to go in this show.
Well,
So-
bro, I got answers for you. You
No,
ask
but-
me questions,
all right,
I got
so-
answers.
Has there been people or AI? I believe Q is AI, but has there been people or AI or whatever that has infiltrated Q and
No.
has given you no?
No.
Never. You've never got bad information from Q. It's
No.
never been
So
some
Q-
fucking hacker.
No.
Really?
Q has given disinformation, but that always goes back.
Optics. That's why I always,
For
I always
optics,
say
things
I'll
like
send
that.
you that little fucking optics text.
Because we're not the only ones watching the boards, and this is why Q never gives dates or times. And anytime there is a date or time that Q gives, I always take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of Anons run with it. They run with it, and they think something's going to happen, and they start promoting these high expectations and things like that. And I always tell them, I'm like, listen, the enemy, if this is true, the enemy is watching as well. They're not going to broadcast and say, "Oh, we're making arrests on this date, be ready." It's never going to happen that way. It's going to, just like Ghislaine Maxwell, we're going to wake up in the morning and all of a sudden there's going to be huge arrests, and we're going to be like, "Holy shit, like, what's going on?" It's never going to be broadcast to the entire world. Q is literally just to present information and provide us civilians with information the media refuses to cover. Because at the end of the day, the media, they never cover what's really happening. They always give like some fluff piece, or they always, you guys, whether you believe in Q or not, everybody in the truther community agrees that there are false flags. They have these false flags to prevent certain information from happening. Like, for example, the George Floyd happened in the black box that everybody was posting. That was the same exact day that Hillary Clinton was going in for her appeal. Like, they do these things on timing so they can prevent things from hitting the news. They do these. The riots started when Rod Rosenstein was testifying and answering questions on why he signed off on the FISA warrants. Like, they don't want the news to cover these things, so they have these false flag events so no one is paying attention to what's really going on behind the scenes.
Why is it so cryptic?
Why? Because
why doesn't it just say James Currey is going to punch Clinton in the face tomorrow?
Because it's very important. Think about this.
Why
Think
is
about
it so
this.
cryptic?
It's and this is why I use videos to introduce Q to people, because when you're talking to your friends and your family and you tell them something and it doesn't go along with what they believe and it's totally outside the box, they immediately throw red flags up and they don't want to believe you right off the bat, because it's so crazy. Like, to think that all these people are involved in pedophilia and satanic worship and all this disgusting stuff, and they've been selling our country away. They have a hard. They're like, why isn't it on the news? Why doesn't the news talk about this stuff? So you can't even tell somebody these things without them, without them thinking that you're crazy. So it's one thing to tell somebody. It's another thing to show people, and that's what really Q is really good at doing, is getting people to research themselves and look into these things themselves and ask the questions themselves, because that's what's really going on. He leaves bits and pieces of information and questions that allows us to start researching even further.
I think you would scare a lot of people off, like you said, that don't necessarily believe, if you went full on right off of the bat. Like you said, they need to take the initiative a little bit and look into it, because if you just went directly to our whole government as pedophiles, and they
Well,
have
if Hillary
Child
Clinton
Bang
won,
Island.
if Hillary Clinton won, they were going to do a military coup. That was the original plan. They were going to do a military coup in 2014 with the Patriots, like General Flynn, Admiral Rogers, and they were like, "Listen, if we do this, millions of American citizens are going to kill each other over false pretenses, over these social engineered programs that were put into place to make us believe certain things via the media, via our school, our education
They start
system."
to go like this.
Yeah, exactly. So if they did that and the military started arresting, like, think about it, if right now they made it an arrest and they arrested Barack Obama, what do you think the American people that aren't awake to what's going on are going to do? They're going to flip out. They're going to start rioting in the streets. It's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. So if they did that right off the bat and started making arrests without waking up a majority of the Americans, it would be chaos. It would be so bad because people wouldn't understand why. So you can't just tell people what's going on. You have to show them. And that's what we're seeing right now, because not only are people waking up to the fact that Q is probably real, but they're waking up to the fact that there's powers that be that don't have our best interests in hand. Look at what our local governments are doing. Look at our governors are doing. They're overstepping their bounds. And it doesn't matter if you're left, right, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. It doesn't matter. People are like, this is not right. I don't agree with this. And they don't want it. They're like, we need to stop this. And it's going to affect the voting, the polls in November. People are going to let it be heard that they don't agree with a lot of these governors.
James, it's crazy because as much as I in my mind I fight Q, and I don't trust the establishment. I don't trust who we elect. But a huge but. Throughout my years of free thinking, I want to call it free thinking, and shamans and elders in different cultures, they all talk about this day that's going to come where the people that already know what's up, the satanic pedophiles, the Luciferians, all these ones that are running the earth, maybe other dimension lizards. I don't know. Yeah, maybe
reptilians.
This crazy shit that we're open to, that we have to cradle them, and we have to. We're the reason why we're here. Like they call us the Rainbow Warriors or sometimes the Crystal Warriors, because we're here to help them understand, so they don't freak out, like we just said about Barack Obama.
Well, that's literally what the whole purpose of the Q movement is.
That's why I always come back to it. It's like weird. It's like, was it some kid who fucking drank ayahuasca in Brazil and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on 4chan and, you know what I mean, figure this, because it's like, because that's the message. The message is that we all have to be here to kind of cradle them so they don't freak out, because some are gonna freak the fuck out. There's some people that are going to freak the fuck out, and they're not going to get it.
Q says 4 to 6% will be lost forever.
How many?
It's
How many?
Inevitable. 4 to 6% are lost forever.
4 to 6?
4 to 6%.
Because there's going to be 40%.
There's going to be evidence that's going to come to light that is going to be irrefutable.
I mean, dude, if you, allegedly, if Oprah, Tom Hanks, Ellen, all these people, all of a sudden, allegedly, I'm not saying they are, Bill Gates, allegedly, were all doing crazy shit. A lot of people, even if they had the video evidence, they danced with Ellen every day in their at 10 o'clock, like in their.
Look at Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson is a weird one.
Well, yeah,
he's an interesting one. No,
he's a weird one because I'm not.
You got Macaulay Culkin. You have Macaulay Culkin coming out, right?
And
Macaulay Culkin, he's calling these celebrities out nonstop. He's at the Oscars and he's like, Remy Malek eats babies. Like, he's saying all this stuff. But he also came out and said, he's like, listen, Michael Jackson never touched me.
I've argued with Sam about this because Sam, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know what to believe. I really don't. It could go either way.
Michael Jackson has come out. Like, watch Michael Jackson speaks out on Tony, how do you say it, Mottola, whatever, from
Tony Montana
from Sony. He's like, he hopes there's no videos, bro. He starts he has spit truth many times.
Yeah, I think
Prince.
So. I think they destroyed him as a kid. He was one of the ones that they abused, and that's why he had so many mental issues.
there's some sick people out there. I'm on the fence with Michael. Like he could be.
Well,
I don't know. I go back and forth. But there.
So
Go ahead.
go ahead.
The
No,
point is, if somebody else, not as big, not as loved as Michael, like Chris D'Elia, had that rumor out, they'd have been fucking crushed. But the fact that it was the king of pop, Michael Jackson, he's still around.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
But listen,
there's different takes on it though. But no, you're right, and there's different takes on Chris D'Elia as well. I'm
but
one of
who
those
was hurt worse? Do you think?
Chris D'Elia, but he's not
Exactly.
nearly as big. He's not nearly
Well,
as big.
yeah, but Gio,
But
that's the only person I've ever heard. Michael Jackson is the only person I've ever heard in like every fucking country I've ever been to.
Oh, it's like Elvis. It's like crazy.
well, yeah.
Everybody loved
But-
him so much they were like, fuck it.
Yeah,
But I
you-
feel like he was a scapegoat because if you start looking into what these people were really doing, and they all pinned it on Michael Jackson rather than, exposing what they were doing behind the scenes. So it makes me believe that maybe he was going to speak up about it and say something, and they were like, oh, you know what? He's the pedo. He's the one because he's doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
And it was very easy to do.
That was an easy fucking.
Yeah, Michael
finger
Jackson's
point.
a weird one. He's a weird one.
I don't know where I stand on that one, to be honest. I really don't. It could go if you showed me more evidence that he was touching kids, I would believe it. But I also, believe that the powers that be, they're very powerful, man. And I always talk about it. The glue that holds this club together is the pedophilia. Like,
fuck yeah.
that is the glue. So if one person, and this is why I think it's comical that people are trying to say that President Trump is involved in any way, shape, or form with Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah,
I
when
think it's
he's
comical.
calling everybody out.
So not just is he calling people out, they're using pictures from the 90s. But we know for a fact Virginia Guffrey is her name now, testified in court saying that every single room at every single property that Epstein had, his New Mexico ranch, his Paris apartment, Manhattan townhome, his island, Palm Beach, all of them rigged for audio and video. Every single one.
Zorro, yeah, he was just.
Every single room was rigged. And Dan Bongino is just on today saying that some of the audio and video may have been in there, not of Epstein's knowledge, like from other people, meaning like other intelligence. My guess would be Mossad or CIA,
I
things
think
like
he's
that.
a Mossad agent, but okay.
Well, I think so too. I think, because based on Ghislaine, because people don't know Ghislaine was his boss, really. She was higher up. Based on her father's connections with Mossad and CIA and MI6.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that people make this connection. So in 2008, President Epstein got arrested the first time, and that was a complete accident. It was a total accident. The local police, they even show it in the Fluff Piece Netflix documentary, that the local police got a tip from a mother who was upset that what her daughter did. And they started looking into it at a local level. It wasn't a federal case. And they brought charges on him, and that's why he got this sweetheart 2-year deal, pled down to soliciting child prostitution. And the only person that spoke up, the only person that said a word for the victims in their defense and gave credible information was Donald Trump.
Now,
which makes me believe.
I've heard that many times. Is that
No, you can see the interview
that's
from the
fact? That's fact.
You can see the interview from the lawyer of the victims. Like there's an interview of him doing an interview, and he's like, "Listen, Donald Trump is literally the only person, and this is from before he was president. He was talking about this,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Listen, he was the only person that gave me credible information that sat down. Everybody just
and he
ignored
kicked
us.
him out of Mar-a-Lago or whatever, right?
Yeah, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago when he found out he was trying to hook up with a 14, 15-year-old girl that was a servicewoman's kid. But the fact that we know for a fact everything's rigged. Everything is rigged for audio and video. Okay, There's plenty of pictures of Clinton on the Lolita Express on the island with Kevin Spacey. There's plenty of pictures all over the place. Think about how they treat President Trump in the media.
Oh, yeah.
They attack him nonstop.
I will
It's
agree with you on
24/7.
that. Yeah.
They literally go after him nonstop to the point where if they have nothing to talk about, they go after his diet, saying he eats 2 scoops of ice cream and has Diet Coke with every meal. This is literally on the news. So
they analyze the fuck out of him. Yep.
If we know for a fact everything was rigged for audio and video, and Ghislaine Maxwell has been out and about this entire time, you don't think she could have just relayed a video or a picture of Trump on the island or on the Lolita Express, or in Epstein's apartment, or like the picture of President Clinton getting on the Lolita Express with Ghislaine Maxwell waving as they're getting on the plane? Like if they had a picture like that of Trump, you don't think that wouldn't be 24/7
Oh
news?
yeah, that would have been out.
Especially after Epstein was taken out of the picture. Like once he was done, like he's useless to them.
It would
anymore.
be everywhere. I mean,
So
they
this is
found
why-
hot mics. I mean, they found hot mics. I'm talking about grabbing by the pussy. There would be. Listen, I'm not the biggest Trump supporter. I don't know if I agree with Q, but I'll tell you what. Like, this whole fucking Epstein thing. You're right. Like the fact. This is what I'm a little bit. When I say scared, I'm just scared because I want the right people to get in trouble. One thing that scares me is I really hope when she speaks, it's not about Trump, because there's all those pictures that have been coming out. Most of them, at least that I like, it's easy to find out if something's photoshopped, and most of them are photoshopped.
Mike, like I said, these things have been so exact. The deep state knew this was coming. The Netflix documentary came out, 3 weeks ago? Like that timing
and
is
I
not
won't
on
even
accident.
watch it because it's bullshit.
But the timing for that Netflix documentary is not on accident, because the whole narrative of that film was to put Trump in connection with Epstein, because they knew Ghislaine was getting arrested soon. They knew this was coming, so they knew that was going to hit the news. So now they can spin the narrative. The media, who's in control of the narrative, can spin the narrative and use that documentary, because everybody who watches Netflix thinks they're woke. And they're like, oh, yeah, I watched the Netflix documentary. Meanwhile, it was a total fluff piece. They didn't talk about the temple. They didn't talk about the tunnels underneath the island. They didn't talk about any of the sacrifice or the
I'm gonna tell you what
statues.
pisses me off. What pisses me off is that he's into underage girls and Dalia is a pedophile. And I am not defending Dalia if he did what he did, but that's not pedophilia. What Epstein and his cronies did was pedophilia.
Kids.
They're fucking kids.
2 months old. 2 months old. Like, no.
Yeah, they're
given.
fucking kids.
Yeah.
They're
well,
into
we know for a fact,
But-
John of God, who's convicted this year in Brazil, who is Oprah Winfrey's spiritual healer. She had him on her show.
let me tell you something. I was a fan of John of God. It's crazy. I didn't know he was into this shit.
Oprah
Back
Winfrey's
in the day,
spiritual
I have
healer.
written email. Like, dude, John of God was in the spiritual community back in the day. Like, he was the dude.
You know what he was doing, though, right?
No,
you know
I
what
know
he was doing.
now. I know now,
He
man.
was chaining pregnant women to
Farming,
and
fucking, yeah.
impregnating them and selling their children as soon as they're born to the black market for organs harvesting, for slavery, instantly to the black market. It's disgusting.
Farming.
This is Oprah Winfrey's spiritual healer. Like,
James, was people that I trusted in the spiritual world that explained. They told me about this healer in Brazil, named John of God. They told me about him, and he could fix anything, and he could do all this shit. I was this close to getting into that fucking shit. There's a couple other names out there. Like
you got to be careful, man.
You got to be careful. There's spiritual warfare out there.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
spiritual
And
warfare.
that's why I believe in Q so much, well, especially after this weekend, because it promotes the good outcome. It promotes, like, we win, Patriots win, God wins, and we win this spiritual battle. Because I'll tell you right now, if Q is not real, and we're all fucked.
We're
like,
fucked.
We better literally. I'm not even joking. The way the world is going right now, we better figure something out. Everybody better be armed to the teeth and ready to battle for their freedom again. Because
we'll be doing this.
If
at
Q
a
is not
FEMA
real,
camp.
we're fucked. We're fucked.
We'll be doing that at your local Walmart FEMA camp.
Yeah. It's terrible. So that's why another reason. But after this weekend, man, I'll tell you right now, if you are on the fence about Q,
I'm always on the fence with Q.
If you're on the fence about Q after this weekend, you should really, really have a lot more faith and really be looking into what's going on. So General Flynn. So on June 24th of this month of this year, Q posted the oath that people take when you join the military. Okay, and he said, "Take the oath." I took the oath, and he tagged this Twitter account Enoch to post all the people taking the oath, and it was kind of just to show how many people are following the Q movement, to show this that we're not alone. And it was literally millions of people that he retweeted. It was unbelievable.
It's a lot of people.
But it was unbelievable. But then shortly after that, General Flynn put on his Twitter, on his header, it said hashtag take the oath. No one else is talking about this. It's not like it's something that's out and about. This is only inside the QAnon community. Okay. Then than everybody taking the oath. It's not like it's not like other conspiracy theorists or other truthing communities are taking the oath. We're all in the QAnon community are literally just taking the oath. There's tons and tons of people that are doing it. And he put hashtag take the oath. But this weekend, what he did was unreal. He got up 4th of July weekend, stood up with his family, and they all took the same oath live and put it on their Instagram, on their Twitter, taking the oath. And then at the very end, they said, "Where we go one, we go all," which is something that says all the time. It's
his tagline, right?
It's a phrase from JFK's boat, because the JFK, the Kennedy family plays a huge role in what we're trying to accomplish, and JFK was the first person to try to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish today by removing these bloodline families, by removing these secret societies and exposing them, because literally that's what JFK did right before he got killed. He was talking about exposing all these people.
100%. Listen, that is 100%. I will agree with you. That is true. JFK was exposing all that shit, and he got whacked because of it.
And the QAnon community is picking up the torch where he left off. And I'm not one of the QAnon people who thinks JFK Jr. is alive. I did a video on it. I think he's dead. I have plenty of reasons why I think he's dead, just from a logical standpoint. But I do believe his relationship with President Trump when he was alive played a huge role, because Jackie Kennedy was a very smart woman, and she definitely fed information to her son, and she was telling him things. And I'll tell you right now, if you were JFK Jr. and I was friends with you like I'm friends with you right now, I would ask you about your father. I'd be like, "Yo, dude, like, I know it's probably a touchy subject, but I've been researching. I hear all the stories. You got to tell me some information about your father."
Especially if your uncle was the guy who cleaned up Tesla's fucking shit.
Exactly.
Listen,
exactly.
There's a lot of weirdness. There definitely is.
But the fact that General Flynn says that this weekend and does the oath is an ultimate proof. Like, General Flynn, we know for a fact that the deep state tried to frame this man. They tried to blackmail this man. The establishment, the powers that be, the Mueller investigation, the Mueller team, literally tried to blackmail General Flynn, a 3-star general. It's 100% fact. There is zero argument. So you think General Flynn is going to just totally destroy his home life, get dragged through the mud, and his reputation destroyed to go along with this plan? Or is he going to fight with the Patriots and go along with this plan and play possum and allow them to drag them through this mud, because he knows that there's a plan and we're exposing these evil people?
Listen, that's a really good one, James, and that's somebody I gotta think about. But just totally throw Q out. Pretend Q was sided by the other side that you don't like, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The side that Q caters to, right, holds all the guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They hold all the guns.
Yes.
They're the more fiery ones, the ones that will
the silent majority,
right? The ones that I don't want to call them silent, the ones that will step the fuck up. But what if when a baby is teething, right? What do you do? You give a pacifier, right? 'Cause they suck on the pacifier and they stop. So what if the world? What if the country right now is teething, is fucking angry, is pandemics, fucking social unrest, all this bullshit, and it's like, you know what? The one who's gonna the ones that could really fuck this shit up, we're gonna throw them the pacifier. We're gonna give them the alley-oop. We're gonna just give them this thing that, in a couple months, they're always gonna be okay. In a couple months, they're always gonna be like, what do you say to someone like this that thinks that? Because you know what? A lot of times in my mind, I think that. I'm like, you know what? I can't trust shit. And why should I?
The problem with that theory is there's still things happening. Like, you have to realize that arrests are being made and people are being exposed. They may not be who you want them to be yet, but you have to remove and replace. Like, how many judges has the president removed? How many things that has the president done to clear way for these investigations? Like, Ghislaine Maxwell was only allowed to be arrested because they removed Jeffrey Berman from the Southern District of New York, the same place that's blocking the Wiener laptop from being introduced as evidence.
Yeah,
that's
like,
the
where is
same
that?
exact place.
Like,
it's in the Southern District of New York.
Is
the
that
same
coming
place.
out?
Yes, that's coming out. Absolutely.
You think in this year that will come out?
So General Flynn, prior to his arrest, was tweeting about the Wiener laptop. Like, there's a tweet about it. He posted it in 2016 on November 4th of 2016. General Flynn posts #spirit cooking. We need to look into the Wiener laptop and Hillary Clinton's involvement and the Hillary emails. Like, #spirit cooking. Like, then he got arrested shortly after he got, appointed to the DNI. So, like, he clearly knows something. Why would he talk about that? Then you have his lawyer, Sidney Powell, who's doing a Q&A, and she's being asked questions. She's like, yo, I did a column about the Wiener laptop, but I know for a fact the officers that saw the Wiener laptop, they had to throw up because it was so disgusting from seeing it. Now, this is a distinguished lawyer with a very good reputation. She's not going to say these things if she doesn't have credible information. She's not just going to come out. Eric Prince broke this story on Breitbart in 2016, and she just confirmed it. Like, it's not like she's a nobody. So General Flynn, they did this because he knows where all the bodies are buried. He's been in intelligence for so long, and that's why him taking this oath is such a huge proof that Q is real. That's why it's such a huge proof. And if it was a Mossad operation to give us the pacifier so they can carry out their operations on the other end and finish out their plan for Agenda 21 or Agenda 30 or 2030.
Project Bluebeam or whatever.
Yeah, if they wanted to do that, why would they take out Epstein and why would they take out Maxwell? Why would they take them out? Why would they allow President Trump to expose these people and remove these people from power? Like, the Rockefellers lost power when he died. Okay, that happened when President Trump took office. Didn't happen by accident.
Two things. Do you believe in Project Looking Glass?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes. Q was talking about Project Looking Glass a lot.
And do you think that has something to do with Tesla and Trump and all that?
I do. I think. Well,
which is awesome because I know
your buddy Tommy G. I'm a huge fan of him, but he did a great thread on Sarah and Jacera and brought Project Looking Glass into the fold. And I truly believe that there's something at play that's going on behind the scenes. Because you're right, Donald Trump's uncle, John G. Trump, was Nikola Tesla's prodigy. It was his apprentice. And for those who don't know, you can look it up. He was an MIT professor.
That's real. That's real. I mean, I've looked it up.
Yeah. John G. Trump was a brilliant man. So it's not like that's incredible information. He was a very, very smart man, and he's the one who removed the files from the safe to give to the FBI. And rumor has is he kept a lot of the files or had copies of a lot of the files. And
he cleaned up the hotel room where
part of
died, yeah.
part of Nicera and Jacera involves cleaning up or revealing 6,000 technology patents that include free energy, anti-gravitational crafts, and frequency healing, all things that Tesla said he had capabilities of doing. Yeah. And that's very interesting to me because I always say if Q is real, which at this point I'm pretty much all in. I have my reservations prior, but after this General Flynn, I'm like, this is it, man. Like, and at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, we're screwed. We're going to hell.
Oh, we're fucked.
The Constitution's getting ratified. We're screwed. So I'd rather believe the positive than the negative. But I'd much rather, because otherwise I'll be miserable. Because otherwise, if I didn't know about Q, I'd be one of the people. Oh, we're going to FEMA camps. They're going to chip us. We're screwed.
Oh yeah,
like, I'd be one of those people. I'd literally be one of those people.
Oh, I mean, I'm halfway there. I thought I was going to meet Sam in a fucking FEMA camp.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be like the MC of like. I thought he was going to be like MCing the fucking local Walmart FEMA camp.
Yeah, entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Q, I'd be one of those people, man. I was literally like, oh shit, we get chipped, we're gonna get vaccinated, we're screwed. I'm better like go find a place in Costa Rica or off the grid where I can hide out because I don't want to deal with this. This is gonna be bad. So I choose to believe in the positive. But if Q is real, that means that all of the 160,000 unsealed indictments are going to remove a lot of people, Hollywood politicians, financial moguls, congressmen and women, royalty, so on and so forth. You can't just start over and say, okay, we remove these people, let's put in some new people and replace them. You have to rebuild the entire system. You have to introduce things that are gonna impact human society because it's so much of a shift in what's going on in our world. If you remove all of Hollywood, if you remove all these financial moguls and entertainment moguls and agricultural people that are involved in the agricultural business, so on and so forth, you can't just okay, we're just going to put somebody else there. It doesn't work.
Well,
So
it
there
might be
has to be a
happening right
plan.
now, right? I mean,
There-
we've slowed everything down. There's no
Yeah.
movies being made.
Yeah, no, but there has to be a plan for after the plan. Like Q and the QAnon team and President Trump are not removing all these satanic pedophiles and all these evil people from the world to drive our country into anarchy and chaos. Because if they don't have a plan for after removing those people, it's going to be like Libya. There's going to be a power vacuum, and all of a sudden it's going to be, biggest swinging dick is going to get the power. Whoever has the most artillery is going to be in charge, and that's it. We're screwed. So there has to be a plan for after the plan. And I'm really starting to buy into the Sarah Jacera plan. David Rodriguez did a talk about it today, and he's getting word that it's going into effect. I know Tommy tweeted about it yesterday that the debt is getting erased.
Yeah, some people's debts. James, what's funny is like I said, like
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'd rather believe positive, man.
In 2012, I took a big jump, and I was like I said, hanging out with elders in the Native Americans and all over the world, and different people that predict. Let's say even like almost like gypsy type people that are just people are predicting, and they all kind of predicted this point, and they all spoke about this point. And even the last person I spoke to, he was like, off air, he was like, "You're never gonna believe this, but it's Donald Trump that's gonna." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You're gonna say this?" He's like some hippie dude. He's like, "I know."
That's wild.
He goes, "I know it's hard to believe." He goes, "But it's." He goes, and he was saying like he was trying to like almost dismiss Trump. He was like, he doesn't even realize he's just guided by angels, and he's like, he doesn't even realize, but he's, and it's like, it's hard because I have to fight and have to question everything, and I feel like, come on, man, Donald Trump, the dude with the fake hair, and the like, it's like. Really, but there's so many coincidences happening, like we talked about.
They're too big. They're too big.
There's so many.
Well, also you talk about Brexit. So Brexit
Exactly.
happened. Brexit happened. It voted and passed in 2016. The people of England voted on it, and the deep state, because the European Union was like the first step to building their one world agenda,
Yes.
and England leaving that European Union is a big deal. It's a huge deal. So they fought tooth and nail to make sure that didn't happen. And Q posted on January 31st of 2018, Freedom Day in capital letters twice. Freedom Day. January 31st, 2020, what happened? England officially left the European Union and Brexit officially took place. That was the same day they took the flag down off the European Union and they were their own sovereign nation again.
And what do you know about is the Queen gone? Because I've been hearing that from everyone.
So I think so, dude. I think she's gone.
I've been hearing that from a lot of people. Like a month ago, I heard that.
There's been video evidence of people who've gone as tourists and seen Buckingham Palace. They have black all over the windows. The royal seal, her family seal is removed, and they're vacant from Buckingham Palace, which I find very odd. Then you also have the fact that she sat in the throne in plain clothes, which in royal code with no crown. In royal code is a big no-no. Like she has to sit there in her throne, her crown, and her thing on her shoulders or whatever, her royal outfit. And then also when President Trump went and saw her, he made it a point to walk in front of her. And again, royal code, the queen is always supposed to be walking in front. It's very disrespectful to walk in front of front of royalty.
Yes.
And President Trump made it a point, and I feel like that was a signal to us Anons that hey, they're no longer in control.
I do
and now
remember that.
Ghislaine,
I do remember that.
Yeah, and then Ghislaine Maxwell. The media torched him for it. The media torched President Trump for walking in front of the. And they made fun of him. Meanwhile, he was sending a signal to us like, hey, they're no longer in control. Then you have the pictures that are coming out of Ghislaine Maxwell and Kevin Spacey sitting on the throne, just casually, nonchalantly sitting on the throne, which is, again, a big no-no. Like, you can't do that unless you're the king or queen. And they're just sitting there, which again shows, and that picture's from 2002, which again shows to me that the queen is controlled and she's a puppet. She's controlled. Like she's not in charge. You can't just sit on the throne and get away with it. Like that's a big time no-no. And you have pictures of like Evelyn Rothschild poking Prince Philip in the chest, and like you can't touch royalty. So you could tell that they're controlled. So I think she's gone, dude. I think she's been removed. I truly do.
So we haven't. We kind of touched Q. We kind of went all over the place because we're ADD, fucking whatever. But what? So what is? Forget about Q right now. What's the next step with Jillian Maxwell? What's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen next?
With Ghislaine Maxwell,
Yeah.
so they're
What's
rushing her.
the next big?
They're rushing her to court, and I think they already have all the information, but they have to introduce it properly, through legally, so it's admissible in court. They can't dismiss it. So she's officially singing like a bird right now, and introducing evidence. And the case right now, the charges are from 94 to 97, so they're bringing back all of it. They're bringing it all back. They're throwing the book at her. So she's going to have to start singing. And I truly believe, me personally, the next person is Prince Andrew, because it's known that he's involved.
I think he
like
would be
it's so obvious
Yeah,
that he's
I think he'd
involved.
be the next one. Yep.
So Q confirmed that Ghislaine, because Q said a while back in one of his posts that the first arrest will shock the world, and the second will show in which the direction we're taking this. So Q confirmed that Ghislaine was the first arrest, because an anon asked, saying like, I didn't think Ghislaine would be the first arrest. I didn't think she was big enough. And Q's response was, well, what do you consider big enough? And in reality, Ghislaine, it really did shock the world, because now what is everybody talking about? The pedophilia again. They're talking about the Epstein Island again. It's all back in everybody's thought process. So now she's singing like a bird. The next arrest shows us in which the direction we're going. We now arrest Prince Andrew. Okay, he gets in custody because he's never been arrested. He's never been questioned. He's avoided everything. If he gets arrested, if a royal member gets arrested, the entire world eyes on. The entire world.
True, yeah.
Everybody's watching. Not just America.
Yeah, you're right.
No longer just America. The entire world is watching what's going on. And Q has told us they will make arrests at home and abroad. So I truly believe that they're going to arrest royal family members and people that are involved overseas. Because we had Defense 2020 boots on the ground for the first time in Europe in March, I believe, when COVID first broke. We were doing a training exercise in Europe with our military. It was the first time we had boots in the ground in a very long time in Europe. So I truly think that they've been going out and cleaning up house and making some arrests.
Do you think some of the big Hollywood celebrities are under house arrest? Do you believe that narrative?
I tend to, yeah. I don't have anything to confirm it, but just the little bits and pieces.
Certain people saying they're taking off a year or they're not going back to the
well,
shows.
it's very odd. They're all well. Ellen's show is canceled officially. Like the show's done.
Names, but, yeah.
Done. It's not even. She's putting it off till the end. She's done. She's no longer doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah put off all of her arrangements for 2020. The Queen put off all of her arrangements for 2020. Everybody is shutting down, and they're using COVID as a cover. But it's just very odd. Like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, they're all stepping down. All of these talk shows in the prime of their career. Like, it's not like they have a small career. Like, you are the host of late night television. Like, that's one of the biggest jobs in American pop culture. Like, really think about it, how long that's been around in entertainment, in our pop culture, and in society, and how important that is. If you're just going to step down out of nowhere, like, you don't need people to be around. You can do it from your house. Like, we have the technology.
Yeah.
You can still host a show from your house. So why step down? Why are you going to cancel all engagements? Then you have they have all the cryptic words and tweets that they're putting out, and like David Spade,
artwork.
All the artwork. You have Madonna talking about eating bowl. She would die for a bowl of pasta, and she's singing songs about fried fish. Yeah. And which it seems like a false flag. And David Spade's like, we need to watch Tom Hanks. We need to, if Tom Hanks gets through this, we'll all be okay. Like, he's super erratic and nervous.
Yeah, there's some weird shit.
Ellen, it looked like she had an ankle monitor in her sweats, man. It really did. It was something square.
There's a lot of weird shit going on with her.
It's very weird, and I just find it very odd. And I think you should look. It's worth questioning. I can't say one way or the other, to be honest, and to sit here and say that they're arrested, I have no fucking clue, man.
No,
I can't.
Yeah. So for a lay person, somebody that never understood Q, doesn't understand, but they see the QAnon in articles now and message boards. Where does someone go to just easily understand what Q is? Where do they go?
So there's a couple really good YouTube channels. If you want to understand how Q works, like the very basics with crumbs and how 4chan works and how the posts actually work, people like Just Informed Talk and Praying Medic both have a very good intro video to break down the chan boards and how the posts and the trip codes actually work. Because it's very difficult to explain without seeing it in front of you, without knowing what you're looking at. Like I could tell you what the numbers are, and you're gonna be like, well, I don't understand. It makes no sense. And you can go to qmap.pub, like I said, but if you read, I recommend everybody reads all of the Q posts from Q post 1 to we're now 4,580 at this point. I definitely recommend you read every single one. There's a ton of information. All the pictures of Epstein and things that were talked about Epstein are coming out, and from now, like there's a lot of things that Q talked about 2 years ago that are coming to light now, which is really unbelievable. So I recommend everybody using qmap.pub. But there's a ton of great YouTube accounts, X22 Report, Praying Medic, Just Informed Talk, and We Know News. They all do great content and break down Q very well. And I really think it's something that people need to look into. And the one thing I want to break down for people is just as simple as possible without even talking about the Q post. Because if you look at the Q post, it's very confusing. Like it's very cryptic. It's not like straightforward.
Yeah, it's very
It's very cryptic, and if you're looking at it,
I was like, "What the fuck?" It reminded me of remember that movie. What's that fucking movie in Christmas? It reminded me of the Ovaltine, where it's like you do the thing, and you like drink your Ovaltine. It reminded me of that.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you keep, you're like, what the?
So fuck? I want to break it down to just a few players that are involved and who they are and what they're about, without even talking about the Q posts. Yeah. So, for example, Donald Trump. If this Q is real, Donald Trump is very heavily involved, and he's our president of the United States. So, first off, he is not a shy man. We can all agree on that. He is not. He's very outspoken, and when he thinks something is BS, he's the first person to call it BS. He's like, "This is garbage. You shouldn't listen to this, fake news, so on and so forth." And whether it's a tweet or at a press conference, he's not shy at all. Okay. I've been to the Las Vegas rally, the one right before the lockdown, and my buddy went to the Wilkes-Barre one in 2018. He said the same thing that I said. He went, and not only was it packed, but there was QAnon stuff literally everywhere. You cannot miss it. Signs, shirts, people screaming out QAnon phrases. You cannot miss it. It's impossible. Okay.
It's funny you said
so
that.
Donald Trump goes to every. Huh?
You're leading up to a question I want to ask you, but go ahead.
So Donald Trump goes to every single rally, obviously, because he's the one speaking, and it's impossible to miss. You either have to be oblivious or blind to miss all the QAnon stuff. It's everywhere. Old heads, young heads. I was blown away with how many people had QAnon gear on and were talking about it. Like I had people in their 80s talking about YouTube videos that they watch, and I'm like, yo, this is fucking wild. This is wild. So you can't miss it. Donald Trump is not a shy person. Now he has millions and millions of supporters that are going down this rabbit hole. And again, if we are wrong, we're batshit crazy. We're lunatics. Yeah. So why would he want his base to go down that path? And people are like, oh, well, he doesn't say anything because it's his supporters. But then you got to go back to the media. If it was really not true and it was crazy, they would want him to talk about QAnon. They would want him to answer questions about it because it is not true, and we would be crazy based on the stuff that Q puts in front of us, and the fact that we think they're all satanic pedophiles. If that's not true, and the media we all know is part of the deep state, they'd want President Trump talking about this crazy nonsense. They'd call him out. They'd ask him questions. For example, when Donald Trump, he retweeted in the beginning of the lockdowns, he retweeted a thing that had hashtag Fire Fauci. The media, the very next day, I watched every single presser were frothing at the mouths. They couldn't wait. They were like, oh, what's going on with this tweet, President Trump? Are you going to fire Fauci? Like every question at the presser was about this one tweet. They have never once asked the question about Q. They've never asked him once. Yet he's retweeted QAnon accounts and things that say hashtag QAnon and Q. Where we go one, we go all over 175 times, according to an article written by that same media. The media never talks about the content that Q posts. They only talk about the crazy things that are surrounding the QAnon community. They never talk about the actual content of what he's posting. So why don't they ask these questions? Like one of his answers to one of the questions about Fire Fauci, the media is like, "Oh, did you see that it said hashtag Fire Fauci?" And President Trump goes, "Yeah, of course I did. I see everything." So why don't they ask about Q if it's not real? Like if it really is something, some crazy LARP, if it really is some idiot in a basement who's predicting these things exactly and has a general involved, if it really is the case and it's some crazy nonsense, why doesn't the media talk about it? They've been trying so hard to remove this man. Why not use something that's really crazy if it's not true as a piece of ammo? Why not?
I mean, that was going to be my last question to you.
So
why has nobody asked him who was Q?
So that's what I'm saying. He hasn't said a word about it. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't bring it up. He's taunting them for the question. He retweets stuff about Q all the time.
It's very interesting.
All the time.
That I mean, like I said, I go back and forth, man. I don't die on any fucking I think about everything before I really stamp my opinion on it, and this one is like, it's weird because it's so hard because there's definitely some shit that Trump does. You're like, what the fuck? And there's things that, like, at least for myself, I'm not speaking for you, but there's certain things I'm like, what?
I don't agree with everything he does.
Yeah, I'm like, and so, and then like, maybe the way I look at it, and like I said, there's been some people that have spoke to me about it. I was like, you know what? He doesn't even understand what he's involved in. That's what some people have explained. Like, where I really am like, okay, this makes sense. It's like, he doesn't even understand. It's so deeper. Deeper than him.
He's a very smart guy, but there's people. He surrounds himself with.
He's very smart. Obviously, he's a smart guy. I mean, obviously, come on, man. The guy, I heard he plays dumb, and I love that card. I love the guy that plays dumb to see the cards, and I heard that's always been his thing. But I'm saying even deeper than that. I'm saying on like the spiritual level and like the 5D chess and all this stuff that they're saying, that because it goes back to the Tesla shit or the Project Looking Glass, where it gets crazy, dude. It gets weird. We could do a part 2. It gets weird.
It gets really crazy. So I don't think it's. I think it's very wild that the media doesn't talk about it. But like I said at the rallies, you can't miss it. It's everywhere. So you have to see it. And like we said, President Trump is not a stupid man. He's not. He's a very observant person. He notices things.
I mean, really.
So why?
He really is. I mean,
and if it wasn't true and his followers were going down that path, he wouldn't want the media to be able to attack his followers and attack his base if it wasn't true. So he would speak out against it. Huh?
It's quite strange. It's like the biggest question I have right now.
So,
and there's quite a few. There's quite a few free thinker researchers, whatever you want to call them, that I follow on YouTube, and they just destroy Q. Like, if you follow Q, you're an idiot. And listen, they put out a lot of good information, but like, it's like they just like literally destroy anybody that asks questions about Q, and it's like, well, why do you destroy it? And they're like, oh, we have proof. It's like, it's some kids in their basement. And listen, there's definitely been a lot of information that Q dropped that, if you were thinking freely beforehand, you knew about Epstein, blah blah blah, like all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't mean shit. I mean, there's also, like you said, James, like I got rid of it a while ago, but there's a lot of like confirmations.
Absolutely, more and more.
I mean, there's a ton of them
than ever before.
Yeah,
and it's too exact. It's too exact. Times and dates are way too exact, and there's no way.
After a certain amount of coincidences, like, come on.
Yeah, there's no way you have pictures from inside Air Force One. Like, you can do reverse image searches on these pictures. They're not anywhere. Yeah. They're personal pictures, original pictures from inside Air Force One, and there's no way you're getting exact times and dates correct without inside knowledge to some sort of a plan. There's no way. So, and then you have General Flynn involved in his involvement now, and him talking about what he's talking about, and all these exact things. It just leads me to believe that there's a plan at play that we're obviously not privy to all the details, but there's something going on behind the scenes in information warfare that even General Flynn talked about one of his speeches. Like, there's a bunch of digital soldiers. We're
Yeah.
battling in this information warfare right now, and we're fighting to get out truthful information because we know the deep state doesn't give us all the true information via 9/11,
Yeah, man.
we go on for hours. Paperclip,
Yeah. Vegas
Northwoods,
shooting,
Blue, we can go on forever. So we know that for a fact that they don't give us truthful information. That's what Q is doing. It's allowing us to search for this truthful information. Which
I guess
really,
it just frustrates me. It's like, why not just be the news outlet? Just be like, this is what happened, and the code. That's why.
Because it's more powerful to see it yourself. It's more powerful for an individual to get that aha moment, that light bulb moment, go off in their head, say, "Oh, I see it now," and then they believe it even more rather than someone telling you. Then you're like, "Oh," I start looking into it and like, "Okay, I kind of believe it, but I have my reservations." But when you have that aha moment, you're like, "Oh, this makes sense." And that aha moment was, like I said, those two early proofs, John McCain's death and the tippy top shape. I was like, there's something going on here. There's no way you could tell me that you could be that exact and say these words that an anon just asked you to say a day prior. Like
that's weird. Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's like tippy top.
So I knew there was something going on, and that's when I really started diving deep down that rabbit hole and started digging into it. Because then you have people like I said, Dan Scavino. He's his White House press secretary. He's the social media manager. This man tweeted out 2 times with pictures. He tweeted out a picture of a big oil tanker and in the middle of the field, like in Kansas, the middle of nowhere. And on the oil tanker had a big black Q on it. Okay, again, he goes to every single rally. He's not stupid. He's the social media manager. You have to be extremely observant. You can't just post things without making sure you see everything in the photo. Like how many times you post a picture and you notice like something you don't want in the pictures in the background.
And you're the
didn't notice. Yeah, you didn't notice until after you posted. You, as a White House social media manager, you can't have that. You have to be very observant. So he posted a big oil tanker with the letter Q, and then the very next day he posted a chalk writing. It said, "We will prevail" in chalk writing, and all the I's in "We will prevail," which was 2, was dotted with Q plus. So he had to have seen this stuff. So again, going to all the Trump rallies, seeing all the QAnon stuff, he has to know that all the Anons are going to pick up on these small little details, which we do. Because again, General Flynn, back to the proof this weekend, when he was standing there with his family, they were all holding up their hands, but they were all holding up different amount of fingers. Like the first person was 5, General Flynn and one other person was 1, someone had a 0, and there was 2 more 5s, I believe. And if you add up all the fingers that were being held up, it was the number 17. And the 17th letter of the alphabet is Q, which goes into a lot of other proofs with President Trump and using the number 17. But just those little tiny coincidences, how many times do they have to happen before it's mathematically impossible? And they've happened thousands of times at this point. Thousands.
So Sam Tripoli and I, we've gone down this rabbit hole quite a few times. It'll be late at night and we'll talk. Sometimes we think Q might be super advanced AI.
So this is what I say to that. Q has made mistakes, like posted something that wasn't supposed to be a misspelling, because Q tells us that misspelling matters. Okay, so if it's an advanced AI, every time they spell what they need to spell, the misspellings are going to be what they need to be, right? Mm-hmm. It's happened many times where Q has had to he posted something, and then the very next post saying, "Oh, that misspelling doesn't matter. That was a mistake. Disregard that misspelling. It wasn't like a code or anything." Because he always talks about misspellings happening. Now, if it's an AI, you don't make those kinds of mistakes. Okay. Then he also posted something that was factually incorrect, and then the very next post corrected himself. It was like, "Listen, I got ahead of myself." Was like, "Listen, I got ahead of myself. This isn't a real picture. Disregard it." So if you're an AI, you're not making those kinds of mistakes. You're going to be so exact, and everything that you need to get across is going to get across exactly how you want it if you're that advanced of an AI.
Yes, and then it goes to your optics things, though, where things could be done on purpose. I don't know. Listen, this whole thing is like so... Go ahead, James.
But if that is the case, that then why remove so many of these players? Why remove all the people in the FBI's, the Comeys, the Muellers, the Peter Strzoks, the Lisa Pages? Why remove the Rosensteins? Why remove all of these players that are involved, all of these judges? Why get them all removed and replaced? Why go through all of that? And Nexium, why get rid of Nexium and the Brothman family, Epstein, Ghislaine, Peter Nygaard? Why get rid of all of these major pedophiles, John F. Guy? Why get rid of all of them and take down all these pedophile rings and remove Backpage and all of these human trafficking ways that they do human trafficking? Why build the wall to prevent traffic? Because that's really what the wall is about. It's about the human trafficking. Mm-hmm. It's not really about the drugs or anything like that. Okay. Why go through all of that and go through this entire Q movement to just pacify us and get us to shut up? Why remove all those people? If it was really the deep state putting a plan together, why not let their pieces stay in place? Why remove Berman and then arrest Ghislaine Maxwell? Why is the Wiener laptop been hidden? Because Berman's been blocking it.
I think you just come on.
You know, why do all of this? That's what I'm saying. Like, I can understand that theory, you know, early on in the Q movement, after all of these proofs, I was thinking the same thing. It's very possible. But, you know, all of these exacts and things that are going on, it's too irrefutable at this point. And like I said, if we are wrong, I'll die on that sword, but we're going to be in big trouble anyway. If we're in big trouble anyway. So
why not have hope? Know, man. I know.
I'd rather have hope.
I know. And so, okay, James, we're going to wrap it up soon. It's been awesome. Q, your percentage. You're going to Vegas tomorrow. You have your whole life savings, everything in your pocket.
After this Flynn thing this weekend, man, I'm all in, dude.
You're putting every dollar.
I'm putting it all in because again, it goes back to the fact if Q is not real at this point, if Q we're screwed. So I'm dead anyway. I might as well bet the house. But based on all of the proofs, based on all of the exacts, I have no doubt in my mind, especially with Ghislaine getting arrested this weekend, especially with the ball rolling. Because you have to realize, we still have the Durham report to come out. We still have the Huber report to come out. We still have Assange to testify. Hillary's testifying on September 9th. We still have all the Seth Rich information. We still have all of this stuff. Bill Barr is testifying at the end of the month. We still have all of this stuff to come out that hasn't been released yet, and we just had Ghislaine get arrested. Yeah. So the ball is moving. And things are going to start to come out that's going to shed light on the offense that we're on. And it hasn't come yet, and we've been waiting. And after that, if the Durham report comes, Hillary testifies, we get the Assange testimony, and that all happens, and we get nothing from it, at that point, we better start thinking about other alternatives.
Yeah, we better start thinking. Clint, you had a bunch of questions on Q.
I mean, he answered everything. I just didn't even know what it was at all. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's some people that are actually fighting for good within the government and trying to, straighten out all the issues.
Can we agree that we believe that these people are Satanists, that they believe in evil powers, evil energies?
The rest of the Maxwells.
Yeah, the Clintons with her emails and John Podesta saying she's going to sacrifice chickens to Moloch in her backyard. Like we can agree, like the Bohemian Grove and the Owl Moloch symbolism. We can agree that they all believe in an evil power, right? Or can we all agree on that? Okay. So if that's the case, if there is an evil energy that they all believe, like you have Lady Gaga talking about "Thank You, Satan," and Marina Abramovich doing all this spirit cooking to all these evil energies, okay? If they truly believe all of this stuff, that means that if that evil exists, there has to be good in this world. It can't be evil can't exist without light, like dark can't exist without light. So there has to be a good energy. That's whether it's a God, whatever you want to believe. But I had a really hard time going down that path because me personally, I always hated religion. I still hate religion going to Catholic school. But I do believe that there are energies in this world and there's higher powers at play. And if these people believe in evil, dark energy, I believe in good light energy. I believe in the good, and I believe in the positive. And I believe if that evil energy exists, so does the positive energy. They both coincide. It's just like negative and positive attract. You know what I'm saying? So If
I
that
agree with
exists,
you.
there has to be good. There has to be good.
Yeah.
There has to be patriots that truly believe and want to protect the American public and believe in what the American dream is. There has to be. Maybe they may be few, they may not be the majority, but there has to be people in our military, in our government, that don't want to see our world crash and burn and us go into one world government and Agenda 2020 or Agenda 2030 come into play. They don't want to see that,
I agree with you, James.
So
I think you're
um,
right. I think that's my hope. My hope is that
so
there's good.
yeah.
There's more good than bad.
Yeah, I believe the good wins. It may not be we have more. There is more good. I just believe that the good wins. I truly believe that happens, whether it is through Q or some other means. I truly believe that. I refuse to believe that our country, America, the United States of America, is going to crash and burn. They're going to ratify our Constitution. They're going to take our guns away. I refuse that because that's what they want. They want us to live like think Game of Thrones. Like if you've ever seen that show, the peasants in that show yelling shame. That's what they want for us. They want to be living in their ivory towers and us peasants fighting over food. That's the whole purpose of Agenda 2020 and 2030 is for the ruling class, one world government. And I refuse to believe that's coming into play. And if it is, we're screwed, and we better, Mike, we better start finding some farmland in Costa Rica and get together and pool our resources because we're in big trouble.
I agree with you, James. I think this is a great episode. James, where can everyone find you?
Check us out, We the People Radio on YouTube. Like and subscribe our stuff. It really helps us out. But we're really active on Instagram, We the People Radio with periods in between each word. Check us out there if you want to DM me, message me. Have any questions, definitely reach out. We're very active over there, so check us out. Mike, we got to get you guys on the show in the next coming weeks because we got a lot to talk about as well.
I'll come on anytime, guys. Thank you so much. The Swarm, if you came out and listened to this episode, thank you so much. I got the hiccups right now. I'm sorry.
I know. Sorry, I lost light. I usually don't record this late. I thought my light above me would have been good.
No, but James, you're always welcome back. I mean, he's a friend of the show. He's always going to be on. Clint, what do you got to say?
Nothing. Just check out freethinker.tv. We're Freethinker TV on Twitch and YouTube. And I'm probably going to be starting a Facebook page too. So all of our stuff, the Clint Files, the Free Thinker Society with Mike Romanelli, No Carnival Parking, everything's there. So and Two Wheels of Freedom, which is a freestyle motocross podcast. It's all there on freethinker.tv. So check it out.
Thank you so much.
Are you gonna be jumping through more flames, Clint?
Yes, I will jump through fire hopefully soon.
Cool.
Peace. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah.